Hello everybody, welcome back. You've all been begging for another video, so here we are back. Virtual geometry, we got a nice little mini lesson for us again. Um, so just heads up before we get started again, a reminder, be sure, this is your homework assignment, so make sure you're copying down the problems, writing out the answers just as I go. We're going to cover one more topic today, and we're going to go through a handful of problems, and I'll give you a couple to try out on your own. But again, make sure you are writing these down. This is what I'll be checking, and it'll give you a little help. So today's topic we're going to cover is triangle congruence shortcuts. So you might be wondering, why do I care about proving that triangles are congruent in the shortest possible way? Well, in the end, this is kind of a stepping stone, all right? This is going to help us prove properties of other shapes and other things. So it's kind of, once we get this down, we can kind of move on to more complex things. So with that in mind, there are 5 shortcuts that we use listed here. It's always a good idea to write these down when you get a chance on the top of your paper. So why don't you do that right now on the top of your homework? Write out these 5 shortcuts. Obviously, the S's stand for side, A's stand for angle. So when you have those setups, you can prove beyond a doubt that these triangles are congruent. HL is the one exception, of course, and that works only for right triangles. So a lot of the time, you'll see me putting a little star next to it because it only works for right triangles because HL stands for hypotenuse leg. All right, let's get into it and see where we're going to find these triangles. All right, so we got 2 here. First thing I'm going to want to do is figure out, can I prove that if they're congruent or not? And 95% of the time, you're going to have to mark something on them. It's not all going to be sitting there given to you. Sometimes it is, but either way, in this case, it's not. But what I do notice, besides the 2 sides, the 2 pairs of sides that are congruent, I see vertical angles in the middle. Boom, boom. Good. Now I know that I have enough because when I count around, kind of in order, I have 2 sides that are forming an angle that's given that's the same in both. So I know that triangle, I'll name the first one BCA, is congruent to triangle. Now notice, I went BCA. So I went across the double side, then across the single. So I want to go across the double side, then across the single, DCE. And you always need a shortcut, what shortcut you used. Like I said, there's 2 sides with an angle right in the middle. So that's why my shortcut is side angle side. Nice. First example, got a picture, got our shortcut. Next one. All right, so the first one I saw vertical angles. This one I'm not going to see vertical angles, but what I do notice is that both triangles are using that same side, that side marked AC. Cool. So now I've got it marked, and I chose 2 just because whatever. It's got to be something unique. I know that that's congruent to itself, essentially. It's kind of obvious, but either way, I know it, and now I want to look at the triangles. Look at each one individually, okay? So if you want to, forget about this bottom one down here, all right? Just look at the top one. I noticed that there's 1, 2 angles, and then a side outside of them. Okay, so 2 angles and a side outside of them. That's going to be my shortcut. And keep in mind, I could use side angle angle or angle angle side. Either one's good. Let's rewind for a minute and make my picture look a little nicer. There we go. Okay, so back to it. I want to make my statement. I'll name the first one anyway. Usually that's going to be given to you, but if it's not, in this case it's not, I'll name the first one triangle ABC. Okay? Is congruent to triangle. I went from A to B to C. It might help to trace over that in your paper. It's congruent to triangle ADC. You have to be consistent with the way you name it. It's very, very important. And like we already said, I'm going to say it's by angle, angle, side. You could also say side, angle, angle. They're exactly the same thing. I don't care which one you give me. All right? Awesome. 2 down. Next one. All right, we got some more tricks thrown in here. Now, first thing I notice is a pair of parallel sides given by the arrows, and those sides are also congruent. Notice those 2 things mean 2 very different things, all right? So be careful with it. But I want to continue marking whatever I have, because right now, technically, I only have one pair of sides that are the same. Thinking back to that first problem, and one that really draws my attention, because it's in the center of the problem, are those vertical angles right here. So that's nice. Then I got to think about those parallel sides, because I kind of hit a wall after that, right? The parallel sides are going to form alternate interior angles. When I trace these two sides, let's switch color. Let's go green. This side is parallel to this side. Okay, good. Now, I want to form basically a Z. I want to find the transversal that goes through it, and I want to find the alternate interior angles that are formed. I could actually do that either of two ways. I'll choose this way. Now, I see in green that I've got kind of like that Z on its side, or I guess you could call it an N in this case. What I call the armpits of the Z, the insides here, what's formed here, those are your alternate interior angles. Boom. Awesome. So let's go back to blue and say, well, first got to check, do I have enough? I've got one angle, two angles, and the side outside of it. Hey, so I've got the same shortcut, that side angle angle. Let's make the statement though. Triangle. I'll name the first one, how about SAM? It's a good name. S to A to M. Okay, so that's coming from this angle I've marked with the double, right? So I know my first letter has to be the same thing on the other angle. So T, good. SAM, so I went across the parallel side to the A, and then into the vertical angle. So do the same thing, across the parallel side into the angle OM. And the shortcut I used here is a side angle angle. And again, I could also use angle side. One little aside there, I also have another pair of alternate interior angles here, so that if I use those, it could have actually been a different shortcut as well. Could have been angle side angle. Okay, let's keep them going here. All right, look at this. I see a shared side, so I want to mark that right away. Boom. And right away, I'm seeing, hey, I got three sides on each. That's my easiest shortcut, I think. So I'm good with side, side, side. Let's make the statement. Triangle NAL, let's name it that, is congruent to triangle, let's see, from here across the side mark twice, then across the side mark once. Do the same thing. Across the side mark twice, then the side mark once, so LPN. And like we said, it's by side, side, side congruence structure. You don't have to write the congruence after, but I like to every now and then. Moving on. All right, we're really flying now. And I see the same thing again. A shared side. I marked it with 2 this time, because why not? Now, I want to look at my triangles. I see an angle, then a side, and another side. So, I'm not going to spell what that is on this video, but if I were to go angle, then side, think of what word that would spell. You got it? It's a bad one. We don't want to use that, okay? This is called the ambiguous case. This is not a shortcut we can use. Side, side, angle. In other words, an angle that is not outside, not in between the two sides. It does not work. And you might be saying, oh, hold on a second. What about these angles at C? Are these right angles? We don't know that, okay? It would be awesome if we could assume that, but we just can't assume that. So what we say is not congruent, or you can write any I, because technically it's just not enough information. I just can't tell for sure. I do have I'm in need of a little help. This may not be the most appropriate time to ask, but I just don't understand why I put my cake in the oven 120 degrees and it's not baking. So anyone who thinks they can help fix my problem, I'd love to hear from you. It's been in there for hours and I just can't bake it. So let me know if you get a reason. All right, let's keep moving. Boom. I see another shared side. I'm marking it. Good. Now I see this side that I just marked is between 2 angles for both of those 2 triangles. If there's a side between 2 angles, that's ASA, and that is a good shortcut. So let's name it triangle What do we want to do? Let's do TRM is congruent to triangle. So T, the single marked angle, RN. So single to double to blank. Do the same thing. Go from the single marked angle, R, to the double, T, S. Bi, angle, side, angle. Boom. Oh, baby, we're flying now. We're flying now. Okay, I believe this might be our last one. Exciting. All right. So, I see it again. You know, hey, we've got a lot of these examples here. Take those. Uh-oh, I can't write. Sorry, seems like we had a little technical difficulty. Anyways, we're back. We got that shared side in the middle. I marked it with whatever the heck that is. Single, whatever, that's fine. Okay. Look at the things that I know are congruent. I've got a side, then another side, then an angle on the outside, which looks like this, which is not good, right? It's a bad word backwards. We can't use it. But, very important to notice these right angles, okay? Because it's a right triangle, this side is what we call my hypotenuse. So is this. So you're telling me the hypotenuses are the same in the both, and the two sides that make up the right angle are called legs. And that is one of my shortcuts, HL. It's a special one. Like I said, I like to put a star next to it because it's only used in right triangles. So now that we know they are congruent by HL, let's make the statement. Triangle TRH. All right, TRH. So I went across the blank side, then across the single mark side. Okay, do the same thing. GHR. And of course, you gotta say by HL. Awesome. Okay, last part here. You're just gonna try a few on your own. Let me get this out of the way. I don't know how to get this out of the way. How about that? So take a minute, pause this, work these ones out on your own. I will give you a hint. Out of the four of them, three of them work. One of them's not congruent. Okay? Best of luck on these. I hope this helped you guys out. I'll see you tomorrow.